Hello everyone, welcome back to another video with On Point Politics. And today I want to talk about my latest forecast for the 2024 presidential election. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and make sure to drop a comment down below to help us out with the algorithm. And so Donald Trump is the leading candidate for president as of right now. We can see that Donald Trump has a 1 point lead based off of 727 polls as of right now. He's currently sitting at 45.1% to Biden's 44.1. However, last cycle, Biden was leading in the aggregate on election day by 9.8 percentage points. And you can see here that they have accounted for the 2020 polling error bias and allow you to basically adjust the current aggregate for that potential error. And you see the error was 4.3 to the Democrats. And so when you apply that to this aggregate, Donald Trump's actually going to win the popular vote by around 5.3 percentage points, according to this aggregate. And Donald Trump is sitting at 47.3% to Biden's 42.0%. And right now, my actual election model has him winning by around 5.9 percentage points. We can actually update that there. He is ahead by 5.9% in the aggregate. He is projected to get 75 million votes to Joe Biden's 66 million votes as of right now, showing a very competitive race, in terms of the popular vote. However, Donald Trump is actually winning the popular vote here by a pretty large amount. And we can see that Biden, is at 66 million votes, which is much lower than the 81 million votes he got in the 2020 election. And we can see that in Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona, he barely won across these three swing states by a combined 40,000 votes. And if he would have lost these states, he would have gotten 269 electoral votes. And since neither candidate would have had over 270, it would have gone to the House of Representatives. And Donald Trump would have won that election through the contingent election with the House of Representatives. And so we're going to be filling out every single state as of right now for you guys to see my latest forecast for 2024. My model takes into account all of the state polling averages, the demographic poll, the 2016 results with the 2020 results, the swing and trend from every single state, as well as another model which does it a little bit slightly different and looks at the difference in the both candidates' approval ratings. Currently, according to Decision Desk HQ, Biden is ahead of Trump in approval rating by 0.8 percentage points. We can see that it basically finds the average shift from every election. We can see it finds the vote relative to the nation in 2020, then projects it for 2024, and with demographics included, as well as the estimated margin, we'll actually be able to see that Donald Trump is expected to win in a pretty decent amount according to this model right here. And so that model, as well as this model that I had created originally, basically end up averaging out to the final results over here. And we're going to be looking at every single state as of right now. And so for the safe Republican states, we have Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, and Nebraska is third with the first congressional district and the at-large vote. Kansas, Oklahoma, Alaska, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Missouri, West Virginia, Maine's second congressional district, and South Carolina. However, this is not it. We are adding Iowa, Ohio, Texas, and Florida into the safe Republican column. Now, you see that these four states were likely, except for the state of Florida back in the 2020 election. And so they have clearly gotten much redder in my latest forecast. And we'll actually look at the margin of victories in every state. Right now, I have in Iowa Donald Trump winning by 17 points. He won by 8 points in 2020. We can see in the state of Florida, Donald Trump's projected to win by 15.2%. He won by 3.4 in 2020. We can see in the state of Ohio, Donald Trump's projected to win by 17.7. He ended up winning by 8 points in the state here. And we see Texas is a 5.6 percentage point victory. And we see that it is projected to be a 15.7 percentage point victory for Donald Trump as of right now. These humongous shifts in these states account for white working class voters shifting in Ohio and Iowa, and Hispanic voters trending to the right, with Texas voters and Floridian voters as well. These humongous shifts in the states, as well as voter registration in a place like Florida. Democrats were leading in voter registration by 80,000 votes in 2020. Now they are down 850,000 votes in terms of voter registration advantage. And so I don't expect Florida to even go below a 10-point victory for Donald Trump in this next election because of how unpopular Biden actually is. And so we can see that right now Trump has 219 safe electoral college votes. If we go to the safe Democrat states, we're going to see California be a safe Democrat state, the District of Columbia, Maine, or Maryland, excuse me, Massachusetts, and Vermont. That is basically it for all of these safe Democrat states, except for the Maine's first congressional district. That leaves Biden with just 82 electoral votes in the safe column. Not even the state of Hawaii is actually in the safe Democrat column. California is a 16-point victory, which is much smaller than the 29-point win that you had in the 2020 election. We also see the margins reduced in Massachusetts, Vermont, Maryland, and DC, clearly showing that Joe Biden is a very, very unpopular president as of right now. And so, looking at the likely Democrat states, we have Washington, Oregon, Illinois, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware, as well as the state of New York and Hawaii. Hawaii being at a 14.4 percentage point victory for the incumbent president. Illinois is at a 5.6 percentage point victory for the incumbent president as of right now. And we can see that a state like Washington is a 9.5 point win, Oregon only at 7 points, Rhode Island at 10 percentage points as of right now. And funny enough, all of these states were actually safe Democrat states in the 2020 presidential election. You can see Washington, Oregon were safe, Illinois was safe, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Delaware were safe, including in New York, as well as Maine's first congressional district. And so you see a humongous shift to the right in certain places across the country as of right now. And so, for the likely Republican states, we are going to see a humongous shift towards Donald Trump. We are going to see Wisconsin go in that column, voting for Donald Trump by 8.8 percentage points. We will see Pennsylvania vote by Donald Trump for 8.5 percentage points. We're going to see in North Carolina, Donald Trump wins it by 11.4%. In Georgia, he is currently ahead in the state by 9.3 percentage points. In Arizona, he wins by 7.6 percentage points. And in the state of Colorado, I'll actually get to that in a second. Nevada, 9.7 percentage point victory. So, an even larger margin of victory than all the other states except for the state of North Carolina. And in Michigan, he's winning by 7.1 percentage points. So, it's actually slightly closer than Arizona as of right now. And we can see Donald Trump is ahead with Nebraska's second congressional district being likely as well, with 313 electoral college votes. So just with the likely states, Donald Trump is already winning the presidential election. So you clearly see that he's winning these states by large amounts. Wisconsin 8.8. It was a tilt margin back in the 2020 election, but funny enough, according to 538, Biden was supposed to win Wisconsin by around 8.7 percentage points, and he only ended up winning it by 0.6. And so if you look at the margin of error, we can actually see that, Donald Trump, what's quite interesting is that he was down not that much, believe it or not. He actually was not that down. We can see that in 2020, the polling error was 7.7%. In the polling aggregate, according to 538, he's actually ahead there by 1.2 percentage points. And so if you were to apply this polling error, he would actually be winning the state by more than 9 points. So this categorization may not be that ridiculously off if we are anticipating a similar error to the 2020 presidential election. And if we look at Pennsylvania, same exact thing. The polling aggregate was off by about, 3 or 4 points. Right now, Donald Trump's up by 3 in the RCP aggregate. So if you were to apply that error, he'd be winning it by 6, 7 percentage points, which would be close enough to this margin that I have right now. Nevada has been trending to the right. Hispanic voters are fueling the shift in the state. North Carolina, the white working class vote with the mixed coalition of black voters, shifting towards Trump, the turnout being lower, Hispanic voters, and even to an extent in a place like Georgia, that's also taking place as well. So in these swing states, all states that Biden won, except North Carolina, you're seeing Donald Trump win it fairly easily as of right now. For the lean Democrat states, we have the state of Colorado in the lean Democrat column, New Jersey in the lean Democrat column, as well as Maine at large being in the lean Democrat column. As of right now, Joe Biden is at 193 electoral college votes, and we see Colorado be a 4.4 percentage point victory for Biden, which would be a humongous shift to the right compared to just a couple of years back. He won the state of Colorado by 13.5 percentage points. And so this would be a humongous shift, to the right, for the state. However, we can see that in the latest forecast, New Mexico actually barely goes to Donald Trump in this scenario. So we do see the state of Colorado vote 4 points to the left of New Mexico instead of less than three back in the previous election. So Colorado does trend to the left nationally, but not as much as people are thinking, especially since Donald Trump is expected to have such a massive popular vote victory. As of right now, we can see in Colorado, he's winning it by about 4.5 percentage points. So even though this is a huge decrease from 2020, it is still considered a deep Democrat state. And the only reason why it is Democrat is because the major suburban areas in Denver and the city area has been trending to the left the past couple of years. This state was, traditionally a Republican state back in the early 2000s. However, it did shift away once Obama was able to win it pretty easily in the last elections, and then Clinton was able to win it by around 4.9, similar to the margin I have right now. So we do see that Joe Biden has been enjoying, gains there, especially in 2020. So we are going to see the state stay there. Same thing in New Jersey. Polling does have the state, basically at a 5 point victory. So I do think there is going to be a polling error here, but not as much as 2020, at least in this state. And so I expect Biden to probably win it. I mean, it's literally a 4.9 percentage point victory according to my forecast. So it could easily be likely, or it could be, less than that. So it really depends. But right now, it is in the lean Democrat column. We see that the states of Minnesota is a 2.1 percentage point victory for Trump. And what's quite interesting is that the DDHQ, basically that aggregate has it as a 0.3 percentage point lead for Joe Biden. And the polling error there was basically 2.5 points towards Biden. So if you were to actually shift the aggregate, 2.5 points to favor the Republican like it was supposed to in 2020, if you apply that error, Donald Trump would be winning the state of Minnesota by almost 2 percentage points. So I think it is very interesting that that is lining up with previous historical polling errors. If we look at Virginia, Donald Trump is actually expected to win it, the state of Virginia. He is currently ahead there, barely by half a point as of right now. It is a very razor thin, race, extremely competitive, but he does actually end up flipping the state in his column according to my latest forecast. And we also have New Hampshire going in this column. Virginia is a state that voted for Biden by 10.1%, New Hampshire 7.4%. You can argue New Hampshire is actually completely left off a cliff because here it only voted to the right of the nation by 2.9, or left of the nation by 2.9 percentage points. Now it is essentially voting to the left of the nation by 5.9%. So we do see a state like New Hampshire actually trend very far to the left this cycle, presumably because white suburban voters are going to trend Democrat. So you would see that happen. So I think it is a way harder state, for Biden to win as of right now, or at least for Trump to win it. And so we are going to see that end up occurring. The polling does have it really close, and the aggregate actually has Biden ahead by 2.5. If you apply the previous polling error, Donald Trump does actually pick off the state of New Hampshire in that scenario as of right now. And so my latest forecast has Donald Trump winning 345 electoral college votes to Joe Biden's 193 electoral college votes. Make sure to go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, if you're new, and make sure to drop a comment down below to help out with the algorithm. And I will see you guys very, very soon.